Authorities and family members have confirmed the bodies discovered in Ensenada belong to the 3 missing surfers. Mexican authorities say the clothing and tattoos corresponded to the 3 missing tourists.
Has been killed, stabbed just moments after emerging from the water at Coffs Harbour just before 7 this morning. The 22-year-old was treated on Ocean Parade but died in hospital.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. If you've never been here before, I'm Andrea M, and today we are doing a video for Real Crime Down Under, although it does take place in another part of the world, and then we're doing 2 cases today. So we have got one case that happened in Baja, and by now you will have already figured out which case that is, and then we have another case that happened very close to home, actually very close to where I went camping last weekend. So, and the cases are very similar. They both involve surfers from Australia and one surfer from the US. But if you've never been here before, as I said, hello and welcome. My name is Andrea M, and then for all my tried and trues that come back every few weeks that I post these videos, thank you all so much for sticking with me and supporting me. So I am back from a much needed holiday. While the armchair criminologist in me likes to make these videos, true crime videos, they do take a toll on you after a while because you're reporting on such horrific acts that people commit. And while I still remain very committed myself to bringing you true crime videos, every now and then I do need a little break. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been filming a lot of music stuff with my wonderful friends from the Original Sound Lounge. And we had a songwriters retreat a couple of weeks ago in the beautiful mountains of Yulong, New South Wales. So if you'd like to see the videos that we took during the songwriters retreat at Yulong, you can access them on my new Andrea M Vlogs channel and the Original Sound Lounge channel, because we had because we had another wonderful candlelight concert that I was very privileged to go and film as well, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So if you'd like to go and watch that, it is on the Original Sound Lounge channel. And if you'd like to see behind the scenes and the open mic day that we had at the wonderful Yulong General Store Cafe in the Valley, run by the lovely Katie Sibio and her family, that is on the vlog channel, and that is where I make my singing debut. It's not the greatest because I was hell nervous, didn't know I was going to get up and sing until Pam said to me, "Oh, are you going to get up and have a play? You're going to sing?" Because I'm also learning guitar at the moment. Not up to snuff with the guitar for a public performance yet, but I do sing. So I sang with Pam at the open mic in Yulong. So if you want to see footage of all of that, please access that on my Andrea M Vlogs channel, and I'll leave links for everything in the description box below. So that's all the catch up for now, and let's just get into today's video and the 2 stories that I will be bringing you that were actually breaking while we were traveling to and from and were away on our camping trip to Yulong. So that's why I couldn't sort of just jump on them straight away, because I wasn't here, and I didn't have any of my stuff with me related to true crime because I was shooting music stuff, and I like to keep the 2 very separate. But where we were staying in Yulong was only an hour away from where one of these horrific cases that I will be presenting today actually happened. So oh, and also, if you're not subscribed yet, and I know there's a lot of people who are not subscribed because the numbers don't add up to the views. If you're not subscribed yet and you're thinking about it, please do so. I'd love to see you coming back every week. It would help me out a ton with the algorithm and everything else here on YouTube. It also helps push my videos out to more people if I get more views. So if you'd like to help me out and subscribe, that would be great. I would be very appreciative of that. All right, now let's just get into today's videos. So we're going to jump right into our first case for today. So on April 29, 2024, 3 tourists, American citizen Jack Carter Rhodes and 2 Australian brothers, Jake and Callum Robertson, were reported missing while visiting the Mexican state of Baja in California. Now, their bodies were found on May 2nd at the bottom of a well. Now, this was after they had been reported missing by their families and by an Airbnb that they failed to attend on the correct dates, and that's how they found out that the boys were missing. And this was kind of all breaking while I was up in the mountains. That's why it's sort of taken me a little bit to get back to doing these cases for you guys today. Also, I had a ton of footage I needed to edit and get posted and wiped off the iPad, because I only have an iPad to do all my work on at the moment. So I had to get that all out of the way before I could cover these stories. So if you're wondering why it did take a little bit of time, that's why. So Carter Rhodes and the Robinson boys were on a surfing and camping trip together at the time of their deaths, which makes this even more tragic. Callum Robinson, aged 33, was a member of the Australian national lacrosse team, and he was also an alumni of Stevenson University, and he had lived in the US in an attempt to become a professional lacrosse player. His brother Jake was aged 30, and Jake was a doctor, and all 3 had travelled together in a Jeep and posted photos of isolated beaches on social media. And if I can find any of their posts from social media, I will pop the photos in here so you can see where they were. And this may have been part of the problem that led to the tragic events of today's case. So they were camped near the town of Ensenada, which is located at around about 60 miles from Tijuana in Baja, California. All 3 went missing on April 29, but as we covered briefly, suspicions arose after they didn't check into the Airbnb they had booked, and that was in the resort town of Rosarito. And Jake and Callum's mother said that she had last heard from her sons on April 27. And from what I've been reading up on and listening to on the news reports, the boys were really good at checking in with their parents. So that's why when they didn't check in when they were supposed to, that their parents started to get worried. So also, as the case progressed, a burned out white pickup truck was found at a ranch in Santo Tomas, and that was about 40 miles from where the bodies were located. So the local police confirmed that the truck is the same one that Callum had posted on his Instagram account a week before the trio was reported missing. The trio were found at the bottom of a well in a site that prosecutor Maria Elena Andrade Ramirez describes as extremely hard to get to. And that's kind of following along where the boys were sort of going on their surfing trips. They were going to these remote beaches. And there's actually been a travel alert issued by the US government for US citizens to rethink traveling to Baja and other towns in Mexico in light of what has happened to the 3 surfing friends. It's just not a safe place at all. Other things I've been reading up on, there is a lot of substance abuse happening in New Mexico and Mexico. A lot of sex trafficking in that region. It's just a very unsafe place for people who are not familiar with the laws or familiar with the locations to be in at the moment. So if you are considering a trip there, I would get onto TripAdvisor and just have a look at the warnings that have been issued and maybe rethink and go somewhere else for your own safety. It is a beautiful part of the world. Unfortunately, it is also a very dangerous part of the world. It was also said that it took 2 hours to winch the bodies out of the well, and the 3 friends were later identified by their parents without the need of genetic testing. So the initial investigation of local authorities suggest that the boys may have been kidnapped and then their lives were taken by the thieves just because they wanted their truck tyres. And to me, the way these boys were, like, I think if it had come down to, okay, these are truck tyres or it's my life, I think they would have chosen their lives. So it was said that they tried to stop the guys from stealing their truck tyres. Probably wasn't the best move, and the result was the tragic events of today's case. So as news of the killing spread, it did eventually spark outrage in the surf community of Ensenada, and 500 people did attend a march on Sunday to call for justice and better security for the residents of Ensenada and the visitors that were going there to surf. So this case was updated by the media on the 9th of May, and the details of the suspect being held in custody were shared amongst media and police. So the governor of Baja California, Marina del Pilar Avila Almeida, shared that there are 3 people currently in custody as a result of the investigation into what turns out, after the bodies were examined, to be execution-style killings. So one of the alleged attackers is identified as 33-year-old Jesus Giraldo. And just a side note here, in case anybody's wondering how they actually name people in this region of the world. So he is named by his first and middle name rather than first and last, and that is the standard procedure for the Mexican criminal justice system. So I couldn't actually find what his full name was, so we're just going to call him Jesus Giraldo. And we'll do that for the other people who have also been taken into custody over the homicides of this case. So this guy also goes by the nickname of El Cacas, which is slang for a snack or quesadilla. This guy doesn't sound like a snack to me. So he made his first appearance in court on Wednesday, which would be Wednesday of last week, and he is currently, at the moment, being charged with kidnapping only. But as the case develops and we get more updates, I'll let you guys know. So during the hearing, a letter was read by the judge from a woman who had identified herself as the accused man's girlfriend, and she was also arrested during the investigation when police did find her with property belonging to the missing boys, and that included one of their cell phones. She said that Jesus Giraldo confessed the killings to her. She also corroborated what Mexican investigators have already shared, which is that they believe this was a robbery gone wrong. The third person who is in custody is Jesus Giraldo's brother. However, his girlfriend and his brother have not been charged with any crime yet, but prosecutors say they are not done with the investigation and that more charges may be added, and there may even be more people who are facing charges as well. So Jake and Callum's parents have released a heartfelt statement about their beloved sons while they were in Baja to bring the boys home. And I'm just going to play this clip from the parents because I think it really needs to be seen. Just what they had to say about the boys. It's very sad, so just prepare yourselves. But I think their parents need to be given their voice. And if you haven't seen it before, you can watch it here. I'm just going to show just a part of that clip, like the main part of it, so you can see what their parents had to say.
It is with heavy hearts that we share the news that Callum Jake have been murdered. Our hearts are broken and the world has become a darker place for us. We also mourn the loss of Carter Road, a close friend. They were young men enjoying their passion of surfing together. We would also send a message to our family and friends, Jake's and Callum's friends, and all the people that have reached out to us. Please, live bigger, shine brighter, and love harder in their memory.
So their friend from the US who was with them was named Carter Road, and he played soccer at Point Loma Nazarene. His former coach would say of him, his love for life was contagious, and he brought love and hope to everybody he knew. And Carter had also recently agreed to join the team as a volunteer coach. So the three friends all shared a love and a passion for surfing, and as updates come to hand on this case, as I've already mentioned, I will keep you informed. Also, while I was away, more hell was breaking loose closer to home, and I do mean very close. The next tragic case I'll also be covering today happened an hour away from where we were camping on our songwriters retreat. And this is yet another tragic stabbing that has taken place here in Australia. And I honestly don't know what's going on over here lately, but the violent crime rate of late is through the roof. And as we know, we had the stabbings at Westfield. There was the stabbings at the church in Sydney, which actually turned out to be a terrorism attempt, which I haven't covered yet, but I may do in the future. And now we have yet another tragic stabbing. So Kyle Schaefer was another young man who had a passion for surfing, and he was fatally stabbed following an early morning surf on Thursday, May 2nd. So the homicide squad have been brought in to investigate the death of the 21-year-old, and this occurred at about 6:40 a.m, as we said, on Thursday, the 2nd of May. So emergency services were called to Ocean Parade in Coffs Harbour following reports that a man had been stabbed. Kai Schaefer was treated at the scene by paramedics before being rushed to Coffs Harbour Base Hospital, where he was going to undergo treatment there, but he did later die in the hospital. So a crime scene was established before the State Crime Command Homicide Squad took over control of the investigation under Strike Force Coringaroo. As investigations continue, Strike Force detectives are appealing to identify a man riding a bicycle in the area at the time of the incident, just in case this individual saw or heard anything at the time of the attack on Kai. They're not saying that this person was responsible, but they would like to ask if this person has anything that may assist them with their investigation. Detectives are also calling for people who may have witnessed anything on that day, or anyone who may have had dash cam footage in the vicinity of the Coffs Harbour Surf Club and the Orlando Street area at the time of the incident. So investigations under this Strike Force Coringaroo are continuing as we speak. And also, as a side note to this story, just days later, a woman was viciously attacked not far from where Kai was stabbed, and the police are asking for public assistance in this case as well. So what happened to this lady is she was struck from behind. She was 45 years old, and she was struck from behind and assaulted while she was walking on Coffs Creek Walkway at 6 a.m. on the Wednesday. The impact knocked her unconscious, police say, and it was two members of the public who stopped to assist the woman at 10:23 a.m. before calling an ambulance. Now, to me, that is an awfully long space of time. If she was attacked at around 6 a.m. and she was there that early because she wanted to sit there and watch the sunrise. You know, that's all this poor lady wanted to do. She wanted to sit there. She wanted to watch the sunrise, have a beautiful start to her day. But that's not what she got. She was assaulted and left there for nearly 4 hours. So I'm wondering why other people would have to have been walking up and down that track. So I'm wondering why nobody rendered assistance to this lady until nearly 10:30 in the morning. So that's an interesting part of this case that has me wondering why nobody got her help sooner. So the ambulance was called, as we said, at 10:23. She was taken to Coffs Harbour Hospital for further treatment. And the lady is okay now. She has been cleared. She's good to go. But the police have launched an investigation into this incident as well. So anyone who may have seen any suspicious activity in the area between 5:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. has also been urged to contact the police. And you can do so, as we always let you guys know, by calling Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000, and you may remain anonymous if you so wish. So police are also investigating the possibility that the homicide of Kai Schaefer may have been linked to an altercation at a different beach prior to the homicide on May 2nd. A local man came forward and said he saw Mr. Schaefer slumped on the ground next to his car before emergency services arrived on the Thursday. And he would go on to tell 7 News that he put his joggers on or his running shoes on to go for a run, and he just saw Kai sitting, it looked to him like he was just sitting near his van. So he looked like he was sitting down on the ground up against his driver's door, he told 7 News. So he didn't realise that anything was wrong at the time. He just thought he was just simply sitting there having a rest. And the other thing he was saying was all he could see of Kai was his legs in his wetsuit, and he just looked like he was sitting there and he couldn't see much more of him. So it wasn't until this man returned from his jog that there were cops all over the place and they wouldn't let him back into the car park. And there were cops and emergency service vehicles everywhere. So the man said that Kai had been seen arriving at the beach early each morning over the past week. So there is a possibility that maybe somebody may have been observing Kai and knew his movements and for some reason decided to attack and ultimately end his life early in the morning. The revelations come as Mr. Schaefer's family mourn the sudden and tragic loss of a young man with a heart of gold.
Torn to shreds. It's just, can't comprehend exactly what's happened. So I was shocked and then just bawled my eyes out.
People we love, pass sometimes, sometimes it's old age, sometimes it's a terrible accident, and for our family right now, it's just murder. It's just a senseless murder. He's coming back from a surf, stabbed 8 times. What on earth is going on?
Flowers have been growing here, tributes flowing online too. His family choosing to remember a cheeky young man who saw the best in the world.
His uncle Ralph actually talked to 2BG Radio and described his nephew as a man with a gentle and caring nature. He was a lovely young man, he said on Friday. He definitely had a very mischievous side to him. He loved to laugh, but more than anything, he just had a heart of gold. And a businesswoman, Sandy Ryman, also told the Daily Telegraph that Mr. Schaefer was a much-loved young man. He was an extremely gentle soul, quiet-spoken, polite and well-mannered. And she would go on to say that all of his family members are very wonderful people. She said, "We had the privilege of both Kai, his dad, Tony, and Kai's sister Mimi all working for us, and Tony and his wife Pam have become good friends." So this was a very loved family in the local Coffs Harbour community, and Kai was a very loved member of this community. And that just makes it all the more tragic when you hear the character of the victims, and they're just these amazing, wonderful people that brought light into people's lives. And now those lights have been snuffed out. Coffs MP Gurmish Singh said the community was in a state of significant fear and trauma. And Mr. Singh would also say that he was actually in Sydney when the Bondi incident occurred a few weeks ago, and he would say that he observed it changed the feeling of Sydney overnight, and he has seen the same change in Coffs Harbour since the death of Kai Schaefer. He would go on to say there's a lot of fear and trauma in the community at the moment, and I would encourage anyone who needs mental health support to go and seek it immediately through all the available channels. And I'm going to pop some numbers up on the screen for you guys right now. If anybody's dealing with anything traumatic that these videos might bring up for you, or you know the family, or you were friends with any of these people, I'm going to put some numbers on the screen right now that can help you if you feel you need assistance to get through this very, very tragic and horrible time at the moment. And as more details on both cases come to hand, you know, I will be updating you guys as more arrests are made or more things are found out. But for now, that's where we leave both cases at the moment. But I just felt these were important cases to present this week because they were kind of happening while I was away. And I really wanted to cover them because they are current. And there may be things that jog people's memories if they watch these videos that they might be able to add to the police, to their investigation, to help with that. So as always, everybody, as you can see by this, please stay safe. I say this every time I do one of these videos, but stay safe, be aware. And the thing was, with what happened to Kai and the lady who was attacked very near to where he was killed, they were alone. It was early morning, they were on their own. Please don't go anywhere by yourself. This seems to happen a lot when people are alone. Vary your routines. This is another important thing. You don't know who's watching you. As the man said that saw Kai after he was attacked and didn't realise what happened, he'd seen him coming and going to the beach. A lot of people did. Early morning, just about every day of the week that he was killed. So obviously somebody else was watching him and knew his routine. So you need to vary your routines. You need to try and not go to places that you might be at risk on your own. And I mean, especially if you are alone and you can't help but be alone, get one of those personal attacker alarm things. They make a lot of noise. Even if there's nobody else around, they can frighten an attacker away. I'm actually thinking of getting one myself because they're just a good idea. So that is another thing that you guys can do to keep yourselves safe, because I'd hate to hear of anybody on my subscriber list being attacked or, heaven forbid, anything worse happening. So please be safe, everybody. Thank you so much again for watching this week. I'm sorry I didn't have heaps of information, but I did the best with what I could get. And as I said before, if there's updates, I'll let you guys know. Stay safe, everybody. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.